वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। या कुन्देन्दुतुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिर्देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। येनाक्षरसमाम्नाय मधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः। अज्ञानान्धस्य लोकस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै पाणिनये नमः। Hari Om, everybody. Good morning, and for those of you tuning in from abroad, good afternoon, or on the relay, good afternoon, good evening, and happy April to everybody. I hope that you didn't get fooled too hard yesterday. We had some good April Fool's jokes over here. So now, before we begin, I want to just give my pranams to my academic gurus who taught me academic perspective. They taught me how to be measured in my speech, how to say exactly what I want to in exactly as many words as I need to. So my pranams to Professor Julius Lipner, who was my PhD supervisor. My pranams to Dr. Vincenzo Vergiani, who was my master's supervisor. These guys gave me, they gave me the tools that I need to interact with the world and express my ideas to the world. So I prostrate to them. I give them my pranams. Now we have a lot of interesting stuff to cover today, and a lot of stuff to cover today. So let us just dive right into it. Until now, our dhatu has been born. And remember, birth of the dhatu means that you have this sound which is floating up somewhere in the sky, and you name it. Can you just open that? You name it as a dhatu. So you use these. So we learned 2 sutras by which we name our dhatus. The first sutra was Bhuvadayo Dhatavaha, which names all of the sounds in the list beginning with Bhu, which is there in Panini's Dhatu Patha as Dhatu. And we also saw the sutra Sanadyanta Dhatavaha, which is a way of naming all of those dhatus that Panini did not give us directly in his Upadesha, in his Dhatu Patha, but those dhatus which we made ourselves by combining something that he gave us and another pratyaya that he gave us, and then we make some new dhatu that we never saw before, and that Panini himself did not mention. So remember that there are 2 types of dhatus: Aupadeshika, which are those which are given by Panini directly in the Dhatu Patha, and Atideshika, those which are made by us after we add some of these pratyayas to some of those original sounds. So we had 2 sutras to name a dhatu, but both of them are still dhatus. Both of them still function exactly the same way once they have been named as a dhatu. Because the way in which we think about it is like this. When you adopt a child, suppose you adopt a child, then that kid also gets the sanya or the name as my child, and he or she enjoys all of the rights of being my child, just like any child who might have been born directly from me. So although they become my children in different ways, but both of them are treated exactly the same way. We have the same exact vyavahara or interaction with them. And similarly, these dhatus, although they have come to us as dhatus in different ways, but now they behave exactly the same way. We treat them exactly the same way. We don't distinguish between what is an aupadeshika and what is an atideshika dhatu for the particular prakriya or the particular process that we are going to apply to them. So after the dhatu has been named, immediately you can start interacting with it. How do we interact with it? The first thing we do, it's been born, but it needs to be cleaned up a little bit. So the first thing we do is we perform the operation called it sanya to it. So we saw all of the it sanya sutras, which mark particular sounds, whether it's a single letter or it's combinations of 2 or 3 letters. It marks particular sounds with this flag called it. So we saw this last time and the time before. And once the flag has been applied to these different letters, then you have this sutra, tasya lopaha, which comes in sweeping like this and says, hey, are you it? Are you it? Are you it? And all of the things which are it, which we have named as it, are waving their flag saying, hello, I'm it. Hi, I have no idea what you're about to do to me. And he says, goodbye. And then this it marked sound gets hidden. So now that they're hidden, the dhatu is cleaned up and the pratyaya is cleaned up. We saw all the it sanya sutras that clean up the pratyayas also, the affixes, the suffixes. So now everything seems to be cleaned up. Do you remember in the second class, in our second webinar, we heard the story of Panini. And in that story of Panini, we also saw another character who was at that time a side character. His name was Katyayana. Maybe you remember, maybe you don't remember. But Katyayana was that guy who was like the genius in the class. And he also used to make fun of Panini. Oh, Panini, you're such a murkha, you're so dumb, what are you doing here? And Panini went off to the forest and came back with his Ashtadhyayi. When he came back with this Ashtadhyayi and it started becoming super famous, super, everybody was like, oh my God, this is the greatest work of Sanskrit grammar we've ever seen. It's a perfect codification, this, that. Katyayana was like, I don't think so. I don't think it's perfect. There are still some things that need to be added to this. So Katyayana came in and he saw every sutra of Panini's, and wherever there was a correction needed to be made, or wherever there was something that Panini omitted, he forgot to say, then Katyayana came in and said, hey Panini, you forgot to say this, you should have said this. So even in the it sanya sutras, oh please come, please. So Katyayana comes in and he looks at all the sutras and he says, hey, you forgot to say this, you didn't say this, you could have said this, you said this incorrectly, there is some blah, 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 blah. Okay, so Katyayana comes into our it sanya sutras and he says, wait a second, Panini, you omitted one very big thing. So can you just share my screen, Srijit ji? All right. So Katyayana comes in and says, Panini, you forgot something huge. So he gives us one Vartika. Vartika is the name of Katyayana's teachings because those are comments or corrections or criticisms on Panini's Ashtadhyayi. Don't worry, Panini is still the hero of our story. He doesn't stop being the hero. But Katyayana is something like an anti-hero. He comes in and he's like, I also want to show who I am. Now the greatness of Katyayana is that he saw everything that Panini saw, and he also pushed the boundaries of what Panini saw and said, whoa, there's still some things that remained unsaid by Panini. So here in our It Sanya Sutras also, Katyayana comes in and he says, Ira It Sanya Vachya. So let me circle this for you so that you can clearly see what I'm talking about. If the iPad will cooperate. There we go. Ira It Sanya Vachya. He says, oh, wait a second. You forgot to say that at the end of any dhatu, if you see this sound ir, then that sound ir also gets the it sanya. Panini, how could you forget this? So Katyayana leaves a little comment there. The word vachya means you should have said this. and ira means of that ir sound, it sanya. That ir sound also gets the it sanya. So we see an example that makes it clear. So Katyayana comes in and says, you should have said this, Panini. He leaves a little note. And then and this is a comment on the sutra halantyam, that at the end of this sutra, if you have a hal, then it also, I mean, at the end of the upadesha, which is the teaching of Panini, if you have a hal, a consonant, then that gets the it sanya. And he says, oh, there's something else also that comes at the end, that if it looks like this ir, then it gets the it sanya also. So he says, you should have said this, Panini, and he leaves a little note in Panini's Ashtadhyaya. With love, Katyayana. So here is our example. Drishir. Drishir, this is a dhatu which is part of Panini's dhatu partha, and it says to see. I mean, the meaning of this dhatu is to see. So to be able to see. And so we see the breakdown, this anupurvi of drishir on your screen. The, then r, then sh, then I, then r. Now at the end you see this ir sound, ir. So ira it sanya vachya, this vartika comes in and it marks that ir sound as it sanya. And then after the lopa, once the tasya lopaha sutra comes in, then ir also disappears and we are left with drish. And that's how you get words like darshanam and drashta and all these various words which people may or may not be familiar with. Darshanam means seeing or a vision, and drashta is the seer, one who sees, and so on and so on. There's so many things. Drishyam, which means the seen, that thing which is seen. So all these various words are there, and they are all made by drish. So thanks to Katyayana, we didn't miss this out. So we have to also thank Katyayana once in a while. All right. Something interesting about Katyayana is that we don't actually have his Vartika, so we don't have his Vartikas as a single textbook somewhere. That was lost at some point. But the way in which we know his Vartikas are through a later commentary on Panini's Ashtadhyayi by Patanjali, whom I think I mentioned in the second class also. But Patanjali was the greatest commentator on Panini, and his commentary is known as the Mahabhashyam. Bhashyam means commentary, and Maha means great, huge. It is the huge commentary, and it's so huge, so great, that it doesn't need another name. Its name is just the Mahabhashyam. And so that Mahabhashya includes all of Panini's sutras, and in addition to those sutras includes also the Vartikas which are needed to correct or readjust Panini's sutras as well. So from there we know about Katyayana. We know about his Vartika sutras. And Katyayana has another name which is Vararuchi. So anyway, interesting facts about Katyayana. I'll tell you his story another day. Yes. So this is our first sutra where this is our first Vartika that we have seen. Okay, the correction on Panini's sutras. All right. So now we move on. Now all our it sanya stuff is done. There are no more sutras or Vartikas or anything that performs the it sanya. Okay, it's totally done. There's nothing left for us to do. But after you have done the it sanya, sometimes you have some immediate changes that need to be made. So there are two sutras that go along with the it sanya sutras. Once you have done which, everything seems to be prepared. Okay, all of the cleaning up, etc. is done. So the first sutra, which is related to it sanya, is called Yuvoranakau. Yuvoranakau. I'll say it once and then you say it. Okay, Yuvoranakau. Okay, this one's pretty simple. I don't think I have to break it up into smaller parts. Yuvoranakau says that after doing all of the it sanya operations and all that stuff, a pratyaya, if it is left with you or vu, okay, suppose you've done your itsangya and the last thing left, the cleaned up baby pratyaya, is you, then you have to make a slight change to it. Okay, then they are turned, you and vu are turned into ana and aka respectively. So this yuvoho anakau, that means you and vu are turned into ana and aka respectively. So let's see our example. We have one pratyaya here called lyut. Lyut is a pratyaya which creates like the ing form of any verb. And here you can see the example. Okay, let me, whoops. I always open the pen. Okay, here's our example lyut. So here you can see that la and ta, these two letters are taken care of by itsangya. So ta is taken care of by halantyam, and la is taken care of by lashakva tadhite, which we saw last time. And these two, once they are marked and removed by tasya lopaha, we are left with you. Now this you, as soon as you is left, these sutras are constantly cycling through, and Yuvoranaka is also searching for a place to work, and it finds you and it says, hey you, and you says hi, and he says, I have to turn you into ana, and so you gets turned into ana there, and so you get forms like gamana. Okay, gam is a dhatu which means to go, and gamanam, when you attach lyut to it, then it means going, the act of going. Or pat, which is a dhatu we already saw before, and you attach lyut to it and you get pathanam, which means reading or studying. Or stha, another dhatu, and when you attach you, then you get sthanam, which means staying or standing, something to do with one place. Okay, so that's yuvoranakau, that's one sutra. And the second, oh, here's another example. Okay, we saw an example of you. Let's see an example with vu. So we have nvul. This is also a particular pratyaya. And this is a pratyaya which ends up meaning one who does that thing. That's what nvul means. One who does that thing, whatever the dhatu is. So here in nvul, again, okay, so here's our example. Here in nvul, again, we have these itsangya to do first. So na is taken care of by chutu, la is taken care of by halantyam. And remember, chutu means the whole of the cha varga, cha, cha, ja, jha, nya, and the whole of tu, which we saw means ta, tha, da, dha, na. So na is included in that. That's why chutu takes care of the na. And halantyam takes care of the la. And once all this stuff is done, you are left with vu, which we have over here. Come on. Okay, it's not. All right. Oh, there's a bunch of stuff that just happened. Let me mark that now. Okay, anyway, we're left with vu. Now that vu, again, Yuvoranaka is always searching. Anywhere in the universe where it says this vu, after you've done itsangya on a pratyaya, it says, hey, I have to turn you into aka. And so it sees this vu from nvul, and it turns it into aka, and that's how you get forms like chalaka from the dhatu chal, which means to go. And chalaka means one who makes something go, or a driver. Or shikshaka, which is, shiksh means to teach. So shikshaka means one who teaches, a teacher. Or nayaka, which comes from ni, which means to lead or to carry. So one who leads, one who carries, one who takes everyone along is called nayaka. So that's how we get these forms. Slowly, as we start building things, you'll start actually seeing these forms. So far, we've been taking the bricks, we've taken the mortar, we've taken the cement, and we're putting them together slowly. And then soon you'll just start seeing these ending forms. So that is when it gets really fun. Not that it's not fun now. It's very fun now also. Because it's so mathematical. Because every sutra just kind of has a particular place where it operates, and as soon as that place becomes available, it operates. It's like that. It's like a computer program. If this, then do this. So it's like if you see you, or if you see vu, then turn you into ana and turn vu into aka. like that is constantly going on. Now we have our next sutra here, the second of the two sutras that we needed to finish up all of our cleaning up procedure, is Vera Priktasya. Vera Priktasya. This sutra says that sometimes when you do the it sanya on various pratyayas, then those pratyayas are left with only va, nothing else remains. And so this sutra, Vera Priktasya, says that va gets lopa, straight up. It just says, okay, whatever the case may be, if you are va at the end and nothing else, then I'm gonna just lopify you. you get lopa. So here's our example, quip. So Vera Priktasya, if you break it up, it means vehe, which means of this va. Apriktasya. Aprikta is the technical term, aprikta, which means after you've done all of the it sanya and all that stuff, if you're left with a single al, which means a single letter, then that pratyaya is called aprikta. So when you have an aprikta pratyaya that is left only with va, that's their single letter, then it gets lopa. So our example is quip. Now this quip has three things that get it sanya right away. Upadeshe janunasika it takes care of I, halantyam takes care of pa, lashakva tadhite takes care of ka, and you're left with only va. And so suddenly Vera Priktasya springs into action and he says, oh, I see that there's only a va here, so I have to remove it. Time to do lopa. And so you are left with nothing. And these pratyayas that are left with nothing are known as shunya pratyayas. Shunya means zero or nothing. So this is called the zero affix. So shunya pratyaya. Now you might be wondering, wait, so what was the point? We brought this pratyaya into existence and then we took it out of existence. Well, the answer is you didn't actually take it out of existence. Lopa simply means hiding. You have simply hidden it. And remember that everything that gets a it sanya has some purpose. It does something later on. We gave the example of the rocket ship last time. So all of these things are things which need to be dropped by the rocket. Yes, that's true. But nevertheless, they're important in getting us to our destination. So this is our example, quip. Now that these two sutras are done, all of our various it sanya work and this stuff is all done. And everything is almost ready, nearly ready. When you take a shower, then you take your shower and you dry yourself off. But you don't immediately come out into your room. You still have to put clothes on. So our dhatu has been cleaned up. Everything is now nice, shiny, you know. But we have to still clothe it. We still have to kind of put some stuff on it so it's ready to finally interact with the world. It's getting ready for its, its big day. So now we have a set of 4 sutras that get this dhatu ready, that make it ready for the day. So we'll see these 4 sutras. I'm taking all this stuff now relatively faster because I assume that after going through all of the preparatory work that we did in the last 8 weeks, that you can now kind of grasp what these sutras do a little bit quicker. I don't have to explain them in like immense detail. And as always, if you have any questions ever, you can always put them up on the discussion forum. So it's time for us to start picking up the pace a little bit so that we really start getting to our destination where we want to get to. All right, so here Vera Priktasya is done. Now, the next 4 operations, the next 4 sutras that we see are known as Satvadi Chatvari Karyani. Satvadi means beginning with sattva, which means turning something into a sa. Beginning with sattva, we have 4 operations that we do. Chatvari means 4 and Karyani means operations. So we have these 4 operations that we perform, and they begin with sattva, which is the first one, which we are about to see. And these 4 operations, they clothe the dhatu. They make the dhatu finally ready. Now I can finally come out in my full glory in the way that everybody knows me. You know, an actor, sometimes actors have various physical issues, physical defects, right? Maybe they don't have hair, or they have a scar here, or they have various things or they don't like their eye color or something like that. But that's never how we know them. We always know them as this perfect form, beautiful actor or actress. So what they do is they get ready inside the green room. And before they come out, they say, whoa, I have to look like the way that my fans know me, the way that everybody knows me. And how is that? With this giant wig, or with this thing is not there, or with green eyes, or something like that. So I have to get ready for the way that my people know me. And same with the dhatu. The dhatu is cleaned up, but he says, oh, wait, I have to be ready the way that people know me, not the way that I really am. So we have the first sutra, dhatva dehe shah saha. And when you pronounce it a little faster, then it sounds like this, dhatva dehe shah saha. I don't know if we did this with Vera Priktasya, but I will say it once and you repeat after me, okay? Dhatva dehe shah saha. All right. So this sutra says, at the beginning of a dhatu, sometimes you're going to have this sha, okay? The sha, which is the one made in the murdha. If you remember our third class, we talked about all the different places in the mouth. The murdha, which is that top of the mouth, same place where ta, tha, da, dha, na are made. And so you have this sha. If you have this sha at the beginning of your dhatu, then that sha is turned into sa. It's as simple as that. Shaha, saha. So that sha gets transformed into sa. So here we have our example. Shtha, which means to stand, to stay. Okay? And we look at it in its anupurvi form and we find there is no need for any it sanya, so we skip that part. And dhatva de shaha saha, which is always looking out for a place to do some action. It comes in, it says, hey, I see that at the beginning you have a sha. And shtha says, yes, so what? He says, I have to turn that sha into a sa. And so he comes in and he turns that sha into a sa, and you are left with s at the beginning. But that ta, the ta that's sitting in the middle, was only incidentally a ta. That means that its original form is not actually ta. Its original form is actually ta, ta, the one you make in your teeth, ta. But because it was sitting next to sha, it got turned into ta to match that sha also, so that they were made in the same place. But now that sha has been turned back into sa, the ta is also turned back into its respective danta form, the tuti form, which is ta. So you are left with stha, stha, which we just saw in the previous slide. Or no, how many slides ago? 3 slides ago. Sthanam. You see that there at the bottom? That stha is what we just created with this rule. Dhatva desha saha. So now you got stha. Okay. So that turns the beginning sha into a sa. Slowly it's getting dressed. It's putting its makeup on like this. Okay, okay. It's not a sha. They don't want to see sha. They want to see sa. Be the sa. Be the sa. Okay, so it becomes the sa thanks to dhatva desha saha. Now, the next sutra, I'll say it once, you repeat after me. No naha.
No naha.
Okay, I'll try again. No naha.
No naha.
No, it's not no naha. It's no naha. Try it.
No naha.
Okay, great. No naha. This one takes the anuvritti. It takes the word from the previous sutra, dhatva desha saha, dhatva dehe. Dhatva dehe means at the beginning of the dhatu. So it takes that dhatva dehe and brings it down here, and it says at the beginning of the dhatu, dhatva dehe, no, that na sound gets turned into na. Same thing that happened in the previous sutra, but this one turns the na into a na. So let's take our example, niya, which is a dhatu that we have already seen a few times, but now we finally finish it off with the makeup and everything. It's ready to interact with the world. Niya, we see that in terms of the it sanya, nya is taken care of by halantyam, and you are left with ni, ni. And so now suddenly the sutra no naha comes in, and it's always looking for a place to act, and it says, oh, at the beginning, I see that you have a na. And so ni says, yes, I do. So, and he says, I'm going to turn you into na. And so that na is turned into na, and you are left with ni, this nice little form, ni, which is the form from which we will get that, which we already saw also before, nayaka. See at the bottom there, nayaka. That nayaka is made from this ni dhatu, which we have just finally put into its final form, that it gets known with, that it gets known by, ni. Now at this point, I would like all of you to, if you have it with you, open up your dhatu patha. This is that yellow book that you got with you. And if you don't have it, then I uploaded it on the Google Drive, also under the textbooks folder, so you can open it from there as well if you want to. And if you don't have it in front of you, that's also okay, no problem. You can look at it later. You listen to this again and look at it later along with this. But just one point I want to make. That dhatu patha is a giant list of verbs. It's a huge list. I'll get mine out also. Mine is covered with newspaper, because when we were studying in the Gurukula where I was studying, our teacher was like, you must cover your books. And so we all covered our books, and then nobody could tell whose book was whose but anyway, I fortunately have mine, I think. So if you just flip it open to almost any page, you'll see a bunch of, you can't see it maybe from there. That's okay. Okay, can you stop the screen sharing for 1 second? I'll come back to the screen sharing in a sec. Okay, yeah. So maybe you can kind of see, yeah, okay, you can see it. Now, if you take a look here, you have a bunch of numbers going down the left side. Now, these numbers are the numbers of the dhatus, okay? And there are almost 2,000 of them. And the first column here after the number, that is the dhatu in its original form, in the form that it is born with, okay? The birth form. And it is also listed along with its meaning in Sanskrit. So here I'm on page 96 if you want to open it up to 96. And the first dhatu here is dhatu number 1165. And the first column here, the dhatu in its original form is muchlr, muchlr. And the word next to it says mokshane, mokshane. That is the definition of muchlr in Sanskrit. So the way Panini has listed his dhatus is always the dhatu in its original form, along with the meaning of that dhatu in Sanskrit. So you would read this as muchlr mokshane. That means muchlr, this dhatu, is in the meaning of moksha. Moksha means freedom, freeing. And then you'll see a number after that. Don't worry about that number. I will deal with that number later. Now in the second column here, so we saw the first column is these numbers here. The second column is the original dhatu with its meaning. And this third column here, which you see these tiny, tiny forms, that third column is the form of the dhatu after all of the it sanya and all of these satvadi, chatvari, karyani that we're working on are done. That is known as the nir-anubandha form. All these things that we have been doing, it sanya, satvadi, chatvari, karyani, and so on, these are known as anubandhas. Anubandha karyam. That means the kind of associated work along with the original dhatu. And so once you have done all that anubandha karyam, once it's done, then the form is known as nir-anubandha. That means without any more anubandhas left to do. And that form is much. So much, that means we've taken care of the it sanya of lr, and it's gone, and so you get much here. And so what we are doing here will take us from column 1 to column 2. And slowly, as the webinar progresses, we'll go to column 3, and then finally column 4, which is the final form. So we are right now just finishing the process that brings us to column number 2. Okay. So now we have seen Naunaha. Can you share my screen again, please? Okay. Now we move to the next one. Next one says, idito num dhatoho. Idito num dhatoho. This one says that, you know, when you had your dhatu earlier on and you were doing your it sanya, if you had a short e, which is also known as it, that means when you put the ta at the end of a vowel, when you put this ta at the end of a vowel, then it refers only to that particular length of the vowel. So when you say it, this is not it sanya it, this is it with the vowel e. It means short e. Okay, so when you have a short e as the it sanya, then that dhatu gets num added to it. And you might be thinking, whoa, what the heck did you just say? That you just said a lot of stuff that I didn't understand. Num is a particular pratyaya. It is an affix which gets added to any dhatu who had a short e as the it sanya. Okay, that's all it means. And num, look, immediately num comes in. You can see here, this is num right here. And as soon as num comes into the picture, because it is part of Panini's Ashtadhyayi, it's part of the Upadesha, immediately you get the sutra, Upadeshe Janunasika. It takes care of that U, and Halantyam takes care of the Ma. You remove them and you're left with only this little Na at the end here. Okay? So remember, you have to always be doing this. It Sanya Sutras are always everywhere. They're like, oh my gosh, are you an Upadesha? Are you an Upadesha? As soon as you're an Upadesha, I must take care of your It Sanya. So they take care of the It Sanya and you're left with this Na. Now, where do we add this Na into the Dhatu? So you have a sutra, you know, earlier on, there was this, you know, Apple company, everybody knows Apple. They had this advertising campaign which said, there's an app for everything. There's an app for everything. And so they would say, in their ads, somebody would come up and say, man, I wish I could do this. And the Apple guy comes in and he says, there's an app for that. So with Panini, he used to say, there's a sutra for that. There's a sutra for everything. You ask the question, okay, I have this num, and I want to attach it to a dhatu, but where do I add it? Do I add it at the end? Do I put it at the beginning? Do I put it somewhere in the middle? And Panini says, there's a sutra for that. And that sutra is here, midachontyat paraha. Okay, so let's do this repeating thing. I'm going to say the sutra once, and you repeat after me once. Idito num dhatoho. Repeat. Okay, let's try that again. Idito num dhatoho. All right, so that's one sutra. And the next sutra, which tells us where to put that num, is midachontyat paraha. Okay, let's break it up a little bit. Midachontyat paraha. Midachontyat paraha. This tells us where to add our num. It says that if you have a pratyaya that you want to attach to a dhatu that has the ma as the it sanya, then you add it after the final vowel of that dhatu. You add it after the final vowel. So we'll see an example that makes it clear. Here you have vadi, vadi. Okay. Now vadi, after you do the it sanya, which that e gets the it sanya, short e gets the it sanya, and you're left with vad. Immediately, since vad is called idit, something that is called idit means that it has a short e as it sanya. It is called idit. And so suddenly this sutra springs into action. Idito num dhatoho. It says, hey, for anything that is idit, anything that has a short e as it sanya, you attach num. So you apply this na. And then midachontyat paraha says, okay, where do you add it? You add it after the final vowel. So look at our anupurvi over here. The final vowel is a. So we're gonna add that, we're gonna add this na here, after that final vowel. And you get vand, vand. This is our final prepared dhatu, vand. And that's how you get forms like vande, if you have ever heard vande mataram and vandate, all that, that's how you get it with this, vand. And so the dhatu originally is vadi. And this means to salute or to pay respects to. So when I say vande mataram, I pay respects to my mother. All right. So this is idito num dhatoho. That's the third of the four satvadi chatvari karyani. And the fourth one is upadhayancha. So I'll say it once, you say it after me. Upadhayancha. Okay, let's try again. Upadhayancha. This one says that if you have a short ik, and ik you remember from the Maheshwara Sutras, that's why I had you memorize them. Ik means I, U, R, Lr. If you have a short ik that precedes ra or va in the penultimate position of a dhatu, penultimate position is also known as upadha. If it is in the upadha position of a dhatu, then before that ra or va, whatever your short ik is, it gets dirgha. It becomes elongated. It becomes long. So for example, you have kurd, kurd. And now this at the end gets it sanya, and you're left with kurd. Now this kurd, let's take a look at this anupurvi here. The penultimate position of kurd now is this. And that penultimate position is called upadha. So in that upadha position, if you have a ra or a va, here we have ra in this case, then the thing that precedes it, if it is a short vowel, I, U, R, L, then it gets elongated. It gets dirgha. And so in this case, we end up with kurd, kurd. And that's how you get forms like kurdate, which means he jumps. Kurdate, direct relation to Hindi in case you speak Hindi, kudna, kud. So that is this kurd here, which means to jump. So, and that ends our satvadi chatvari karyani. Now we have some minutes left. So I want to tell you about something really interesting. This stuff, I have now explained it. You can always re-listen to the video if something wasn't clear. Or if you have questions, you can ask it in the discussion forum. And we have started having good questions. We have started having very interesting questions in the discussion forum because our material is now getting more and more interesting. What we have done with these it sanya, can you close the screen share now, please? I'm going to close this. What we have done now with our it sanya sutras and the satvadi chatvari karyani sutras, what we have done with these is what is known as anubandha karyam. We have taken care of all the extraneous stuff that we needed to do for a dhatu to be totally prepared. Now the dhatus are ready for interaction with the world. So how they interact, with whom they interact, what comes of that interaction, that we will all start seeing next time. Our dhatus are finally fully prepared. We cleaned them up, we dressed them, we put makeup and everything on them, And now they're ready to go out onto the stage, to go out and meet with people, to go and mingle at the party, to go on their date, whatever. They're now ready for going out. So now that they're ready, when they go out, what do? How do they interact? Who do they interact with? All that stuff we'll see next time. But until then, I want to share with you something very interesting. Something that we started talking about in our first class and our second class, but that we left kind of halfway. If you remember, we started talking about these dhatus, how they are derived from the original vibrations of the universe. We started talking about how the rishis, these ancient sages, when they were in their seat of deep meditation, they saw that the entire universe is made up of vibrations, and they derived the original sounds of the universe from these vibrations, and we have them now as our roots of Sanskrit. And so when you speak in Sanskrit, you're recreating these roots, you're recreating those same vibrations that are present all around you, and you come to a deeper experience of the universe. This is stuff that we already covered. That deeper experience of the universe, when it becomes the basis for your interaction with the world, so that means, I see the examples I gave were asandaha, padapaha. Let's say I have this thing in front of me, a computer. This computer is known as sanganakam. Okay, sanganakam. Sam means good. Gana means counting, calculation, computing. And kam means one who does. So one who computes well, one who calculates well is called as sanganakam. I have this word in front of me now. And when I interact with that thing, I'm interacting not with it just as an object, not with it just as something which I have referred to with my language, but something that I have seen its value, something whose value I have seen, whose function I have understood. I see through that object. I don't just see surface level, this thing which is square in shape that I use to do my work. No, it's this thing which I interact with in my daily life that has a particular value of its own. Same thing with these lights that are around me, the word light, deepaha, something which illumines other things, right? There's so many, every single word is like this, okay? Now, I see through these words into the object. I see deeper into the object. And what I see is the value of that object. And when I act according to the knowledge of the value of the objects around me, then in our previous webinar, long time ago, in number 2, I think, or even 1, we named that mode of behavior as Sanskriti. We said when I act according to the knowledge of the value of things around me, based on my knowledge of Sanskrit, then that action is called as Sanskriti. But the rishis didn't stop there. That's what I want to share with you this time. This is as far as we got before. But the rishis didn't stop there. They weren't satisfied with, they were like, okay, we've created a nice culture, everything is good, but I still don't really fully feel the satisfaction that I thought I should feel from discovering this. So they took it one step further. They meditated further. They said, we figured this out, but something is missing. What is missing? A vibration cannot exist in a vacuum. A vibration cannot exist by itself. That vibration, in order for something to move like this, it has to be resting on something upon which it can move. It has to have a substratum, an adhara. It has to have some platform. For example, in order for me to move from this side of the room to that side of the room, I have to have the floor on which I am walking. And that floor, the adhara, the substratum, has to be more stable or less mobile than me in order for me to walk on it. If the floor was moving at the same speed as me, then I would never go anywhere. Nothing would happen. We both would be equally unstable. So they discovered that these vibrations that are present in the universe already must be resting on something for them to be vibrating. Even though I see this desk, this table, this utpitika in Sanskrit, this utpitika I see, and I know that it's a vibration, and I know its value, and I interact with it according to its value, but still, what is that vibration resting on? What is it? What is beyond it? What is behind it? What is underneath it? That is the question that the rishis came to. And so they meditated even further, and they realized that there is one ultimate substratum vibration, which is the basis upon which all other vibrations rest. Actually, what that means for them is there is one vibration that pervades all other vibrations, that allows them to do their little movements. That ultimate substratum of the entire universe, they gave it the name as Om. They said there is one vibration that rules all of the other vibrations. You know, in Lord of the Rings, they say, one ring to rule them all. So here we have one vibration to rule all vibrations. That vibration, the substratum vibration that sits underneath all of the other words that we use, all of the objects that we perceive, is called Om. And that Om vibration they discovered pervades everything, which means that all other vibrations are just different manifestations, different versions of that original Om vibration. That discovery took them even deeper. That was a more satisfying discovery, because they said, these lights that are around me, these people that are around me, this chair, this plant, this door, this desk, everything is actually nothing but that Om vibration in some different manifestation, some different name, some different form it's got. And you know what? I too am nothing but that Om vibration in this, because I'm also part of the universe. I also am nothing but that original Om vibration, which is the same as all other things. But we just have these slight variations, different manifestations of that Om. But that means that all of us, including me, including this desk, including this water, including all of our respected elders and our children, are just nothing but Om in different manifestations. When they discovered this, the rishis were blown away. And anybody who has ever discovered this in their meditations from those times till now has been totally blown away. Everybody who has ever written about this Om has been totally blown away by it. Whether that is in the Upanishads, all the way back in Mandukya Upanishad when they talk about Om, or whether that's in even modern times. If you ever read this book called Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse, he talks about the Om, that Om sound, the ultimate substratum of the entire universe. So the rishis discovered, whoa, my interaction with everything is not just with those things with that particular value. Things don't just have a value. Every single thing which is resting on this infinite substratum Om has infinite value. Everything has infinite value. And I have infinite value. And I and everything around me are one. This is the craziest discovery. I mean, it's the most unbelievable discovery of all time. And they came through it just by meditating on their language. Just imagine the kind of technology that was in their heads, which we are actually trying to develop through this webinar also.
They come to Vedanta.
Exactly. That is what is called as Vedanta only. The end of all knowledge, the culmination of all knowledge. When I act according to the knowledge that I and everything around me are one, this is known as dharma. We have this word called dharma that is so commonly used, so commonly bandied about. This dharma, that dharma, I have dharma, you have dharma. But dharma simply means, from that original perspective, when I act according to the knowledge that I and everything around me are one, that is called as dharma. It's so simple. It's so simple. If I see the universe as my own extension, then the natural mode of action that arises out of this particular body and mind is called as dharma. That is my dharma. So they discovered this and were a little more satisfied. They said, yes, this makes a little more sense. Sanskriti is the culture that we create amongst everybody with our knowledge of the value of everything around us. But those who dive a little deeper, those who inquire further, those bold heroes who go into the matter even further, they discover something even more profound, even more unbelievable, that actually I am no different from that which surrounds me. And so my body and mind must naturally become the tool for the service of everything around me, because this all is only me. I told you that studying Sanskrit grammar is not just for the sake of studying Sanskrit grammar. This is why. Because as you study it further and further and further and further, your universe totally transforms. Your life totally transforms. Your behavior totally transforms. When you come home after living in the jungle and meditating on these words, and you come home to your parents and you start behaving the way you naturally now behave, your parents are like, wow, what happened to you? This is amazing. Because I am now acting based on a different vision of the universe. So this action, this mode of action, we can all inculcate in ourselves as we start to meditate deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper on the language, which is the framework for our universe. So meditate on this, think about it, see how it washes over your mind, see how it feels. If you have questions about what we discussed in the class today, not just about the dharma thing, about our satvadi chatvari karyani and our first vartika ira itsanya vachya, remember we are studying those so we can come to this experience, this realization, not just so that we can say I'm a grammar pandita, I know everything. No, you really want to know everything, then you have to dive into your very experience of the universe, and Sanskrit facilitates that diving. So if you have any questions,
any knowledge which you go deep into will take you there.
Any knowledge which you dive deep enough into will bring you to the oneness of the universe. Sanskrit is something that is just particularly fascinating and easy, actually, that takes you there directly. So because language is pervading all of our thoughts all the time, so why not use that to dive deeper into the universe? So now we conclude. If you have any questions, I saw a few here. If you save those questions and put them on the discussion forum, I want to now encourage using the discussion forum more, because that's where that interesting give and take, back and forth discussion between people will start taking place. So bring your questions to the discussion forum and we will start discussing it all there. So we'll conclude now. It's just our time to conclude. So please open the concluding mantras. Thank you. All right, now we conclude. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you, everyone. I'll answer all these questions that you have asked on the discussion forum. So if you just bring them there and ask them there, then it'll be beneficial for all students to see the discussion that takes place. All right. Okay. Hari Om, everyone. Thank you. See you next week.